पार्टी के भीतर क्या आपकी राय, पार्टी के भीतर नेताओं की आपकी?
ये तो अधिकार ही नहीं है मुझे, मैं इंडिया अलायंस का घटक हूँ। तब जो होगा तो साथ में सोचेंगे। बड़ा काम, ये बिल बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है इस देश के लिए, इसके हल्के में हम लोग चर्चा नहीं करते। हम साथ में बैठेंगे जो देश के हित में होगा। आप मैं और एक उदाहरण दूँ, जीएसटी का बिल हमने पास किया ना। आप चिदम्बरम जी के बारे में कह रहे थे, चिदम्बरम जी ने कितने सुझाव दिए थे उस बिल में, आप उनका भाषण निकालिए। बहुत सारे सुझाव दिए थे और हम सब ने मिलके जीएसटी का यूनैनिमसली बिल पास किया था, क्योंकि वो बिल हमारा ही था। मनमोहन सिंह जी का बिल था जीएसटी का, जो मोदी साहब ने पास किया।
Has this attempt been made on your party as well? And how confident you are that your 8 MPs are going to stick with you?
Nobody has made any attempts towards me or my MPs to the best of my knowledge. So, I mean, I don't have so much spare time to indulge in gossip. And I don't believe in sources, I believe in reality. So let me reassure you that all 8 MPs of NCP, SP and all our MLAs, we stick together. Whatever decision we'll be taking, please understand, NCP is a party where Shri Sharad Pawar not only leads it, he invests in everybody and he listens. His biggest strength as a leader, that he's an amazing listener. And you can verify this. He will talk to every MLA and MP and hear them is what they want or what their view is. Only then he gives a decision. Anybody who's worked with him will tell you this. There is no discussion only. It's like going, am I going to Kanpur? Why should I find out on Google Maps? There is no proposal. Nor is NDA asking us, no, we are asking NDA. So where is the question of having the discussion? The discussion is on TV, not in the party or the organization. First of all, I don't owe anybody an explanation. I only an explanation to the NCP SP cadre. Till my brother was alive, was there dialogue? 100%. Was it my brother's last wish for all of us to come together? Yes, it was. It was my brother's last wish for both the NCPs to work together and be together. Unfortunately, my brother passed away. So now there is no reason to have this conversation because my brother is no more.
पार्टी में ऐसी चर्चा बीच में आती है कि विधायक चाहते हैं, सांसद चाहते हैं, कोई एनडीए के साथ जाए, कांग्रेस के साथ जाए या दोनों एनसीपी का मोर्चा।
पार्टी के डिस्कशंस हर हफ्ते होते हैं। मुझे किसी पार्टी के ना किसी नेता ने, ना किसी विधायक ने, ना किसी कार्यकर्ते ने, ना मुझे बोला है, ना किसी मैंने सुना है। मैं तो सिर्फ टीवी पर सुनती हूँ और सूत्र से सुनती हूँ। पार्टी में ऐसी कोई चर्चा, हमारी हर हफ्ते पार्टी होती है, उसका पार्टी के मीटिंग का हर फोटो भी ट्वीट होता है। तो आपको पता है हम लोग कितने बार मिलते हैं। देखिए, जयंत पाटिल जी हमारे पार्टी के बहुत वरिष्ठ नेता है। कल वो ऑफिशियली टाइम लेके माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी को मिलने गए थे। ओपनली गए गाड़ी से और फ्रंट डोर से गए, फ्रंट डोर से वापस आए। एक बाकी माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के घर के ऑफिस में और कौन था, इसका जवाब मैं कैसे दे सकती हूँ? इसका जवाब सिर्फ माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी सकते। उनका घर है, वो जिसको बुलाए ना बुलाए हमको कैसे पता होगा?
पवार के साथ जो लोग उस वक्त गए एनडीए का हिस्सा होना चाहते थे, वो चले गए। पार्टी में एक राय बनी अंदरूनी, जिसके खिलाफ आप रहे हैं शरद पवार। क्या फिर से कोई ऐसी बात बन सकती है?
Supriya Sule speaking there, saying the NCP SP would support the centre's delimitation bill. Okay, we're getting some more breaking news coming in. PM Modi tweets on India-UK trade agreement and they say this is a significant moment in the India-United Kingdom partnership with the coming into force of the comprehensive economic and trade agreement and the agreement on social security. Our economic linkages are going to get even deeper, and together these agreements translate our shared ambition into tangible opportunities for our people. And Prime Minister Modi speaking on this FTA, which is coming in, giving a really big boost to both the nations, so we can expect cheaper cars and much more because of this. And Prime Minister Modi is speaking about this, saying that there will be fresh momentum to our farmers, entrepreneurs and MSMEs. Many vibrant sectors will gain stronger access to the UK market. It will also deepen cooperation in tech, professional services and innovation while supporting greater mobility for skilled Indian talent. The Social Security Agreement will provide invaluable support to Indian professionals working temporarily in the UK and strengthen the competitiveness of Indian enterprises. And taking a short break, viewers, do not go anywhere. Protests against Pakistan are getting bigger, with movement leaders rejecting Pakistan's disputed territory narrative as people protest and march in defiance. Stay tuned.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया? आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Ladies and gentlemen, we suspect that Pakistan is back to its old and dirty tricks again, and we have proof which has come with us that they are planning some terrorism in response to our firm decision to keep the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Now, we've kept the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance post-Pahalgam because that is what they deserve. These are of Lashkar terrorists being trained with some hyperbolic jihadi music in the background, and they are being trained by the Lashkar-e-Toiba. This footage has come out. They are being trained by a US-designated Lashkar terrorist called Haris Dar. And these are all Lashkar terrorists. They are being trained, and they are being trained in dams, in waters of dams in Pakistan. And he is addressing these water jihad recruits in front of a water body, and he says, "Agla step hamara dam mein aata hai, Mangla dam mein. Our issue over water is with India." And then he wants and says, something bigger is going to happen in 2026. That's the video of him on the right, where he says something big is going to happen over the water issue in 2026. Then he's parroting the line of the Pakistani government. Remember, the man on the right is not just any fanatic. He's a US-designated, very well-known Lashkar-e-Toiba commander, training what is being called as a water force and preparing them to attack India from a new front. And he's saying repeatedly that...
Welcome back, viewers. It's a proud moment for the Indian diaspora. The NASA astronaut of Indian origin, Anil Menon, has successfully lifted off aboard Russia's Soyuz MS-29 spacecraft for his maiden mission to the International Space Station. Menon will spend now 8 months in orbit conducting critical scientific research and tech demonstrations aboard the ISS. Take a look.
NASA astronaut of Indian origin Anil Menon has embarked on his first journey into space aboard Russia's Soyuz MS-29 spacecraft. The spacecraft lifted off from Kazakhstan carrying Menon alongside other Russian astronauts. After the launch, Soyuz successfully entered the orbit and is scheduled to dock within the International Space Station just hours later. The 3-member crew will spend around 8 months aboard the ISS as a part of Expeditions 74 and 75. Menon brings with him an extraordinary background as an emergency medicine physician, aerospace medicine specialist, and US Space Force colonel. During the mission, Anil Menon will conduct scientific experiments, medical research, technology demonstration aimed at supporting future deep space exploration. A physician, engineer, and former SpaceX flight surgeon, Menon joined NASA's Astronaut Corps in 2021 and is now making his maiden space flight. His mission also highlights continued cooperation between NASA and Russia's Roscosmos on the International Space Station despite wider geopolitical tensions. For millions of Indians around the world, Anil Menon's journey marks yet another milestone in growing global contribution of people of Indian origin to the space exploration.
That orbital insertion, the engineers.
And tensions grip Manipur after mob attack. Forces camp in Manipur's Senapati. At least 3 vehicles of Assam rifles were burnt down. Stay tuned.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ।
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाई जीरा से MDH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा सिप असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MDH।
ये वही हैं, ये प्रश्न उठाने वाले लोग वही हैं जो लोग आज श्री राम जन्मभूमि में चोरी के बारे में इतना हो हल्ला कर रहे हैं। याद करना, श्री राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर के बारे में प्रश्न उठा रहे हैं। घटना जो भी घटित हुई दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण थी और ट्रस्ट के द्वारा जो सिफारिश की गई उसके अनुसार, जो अनुरोध किया गया उसके अनुसार एक SIT उसकी जांच कर रही है, उस पर कार्रवाई भी हो रही है, उसमें कोई वो नहीं। प्रश्न ये उठता है कि जिसमें एक जांच एजेंसी पहले से जांच करके कार्रवाई कर रही है और उसके अनुरूप ट्रस्ट ने
Viewers, the West Asia conflict has entered one more dangerous phase. The US has launched a fresh round of strikes on Iran, saying that the attacks are aimed at degrading Tehran's strike capabilities, even as reports emerge of fierce clashes in the Strait of Hormuz. Take a look at this report as we round up those developments.
The United States has launched a fresh wave of strikes on Iranian targets, with Washington saying the attacks are intended to weaken Iran's ability to carry out further missile and drone strikes. The strikes come just ahead of an unexpected naval blockade around Iran, further raising tensions in the Gulf. Iran has responded by announcing the third phase of Operation Nasser 2. IRGC claims its drones targeted enemy warehouses at Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain and the MQ-9 drone ramp at Ali Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait. With fresh US strikes expanding Iranian retaliation and active fighting, fears of a wider regional conflict continue to grow, with global shipping routes and oil supplies now under increasing threat.
Coming up, Republic accesses the FIR copy of the Chhatarpur shooting case, attempted murder case registered against accused Shaligram Garg. No arrest made yet. Stay tuned.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी।
every day.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Ladies and gentlemen, we suspect that Pakistan is back to its old and dirty tricks again. And we have proof which has come with us that they are planning some terrorism in response to our firm decision to keep the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Now, we've kept the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance post-Pahalgam because that is what they deserve. These are of Lashkar terrorists being trained with some hyperbolic jihadi music in the background. And they are being trained by the Lashkar-e-Toiba. This footage has come out. They are being trained by a US-designated Lashkar terrorist called Haris Dar. And these are all Lashkar terrorists. They are being trained, and they are being trained in dams, in waters of dams in Pakistan. And he is addressing these water jihad recruits in front of a water body, and he says, "Agla step hamara dam mein aata hai, Mangla dam mein. Our issue over water is with India." And then he wants and says, something bigger is going to happen in 2026. That's the video of him on the right, where he says something big is going to happen over the water issue in 2026. Then he's parroting the line of the Pakistani government. Remember, the man on the right is not just any fanatic. He's a US-designated, very well-known Lashkar-e-Toiba commander, training what is being called as a water force and preparing them to attack India from a new front. And he's saying repeatedly that 2026 something big is coming. Therefore, this is clear proof that Pakistan is intending to carry out terrorism, targeting India's water resources and water storage. That is an absolutely logical conclusion that we can draw from that footage out there. Let me give you a few names to truly hammer in how dangerous the situation is. Sajid Mir, Hafiz Saeed.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very warm welcome, viewers. You're watching Republic TV. This is Shivam Dutt Mehta, and the top focus story for this bulletin is the shooting at Bageshwar Dham, in which the FIR has been registered, but there has been no action yet. We'll get you all the details of this story and a lot more. But first up, let's have a look at the top headlines of the hour.
पाकिस्तान के इख्तियार से निकल चुका था, आज भी वहां पर पाकिस्तान हुकूमत की कोई रिट मौजूद नहीं है। अब तो पश्तून इलाका भी खून में नहा रहा है।
Pakistani politician exposes Pakistani army, says Pakistan is losing control over Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. Protests against Pakistan intensify in POK, with movement leaders rejecting Pakistan's disputed territory narrative as people protest and march in defiance. Tensions grip in Manipur after mob attack forces camp in Manipur's Senapati. At least 3 vehicles of Assam Rifles burnt down. Republic accesses FIR copy of Chhatarpur shooting case. Attempted murder case registered against Shaligram Garg. No arrest made yet. All right, viewers, we're getting a big breaking news development. This is the FIR copy of Chhatarpur shooting, which has been accessed by Republic. Attempted murder case registered against accused, that is Shaligram Garg in this case. Big breaking news development, ladies and gentlemen. This is about the attack and the FIR copy of a Chhatarpur shooting case, which has been accessed, and it clearly mentions the name of Shaligram Garg, but we have to wait because there's no action in this case. There has been no arrest in this case, and this is the violence the shooting that occurred in Bageshwar Dham, and this is the brother of Baba Bageshwar, who has still not been arrested, even after evidence, even after the FIR. No action has been taken against Shaligram Garg. Republic accesses FIR copy in Baba Bageshwar's brother shooting case. We have the reaction of the victim's brother. Let's go across to the reaction.
कल दोपहर मेरे घर पर शालिग्राम के गुंडे आए और मेरे भाई को यहाँ से ले गए घर से और गांव में, तो वहाँ उनने मारपीट की। हम लोग पीछे पीछे गए तो उन लोगों ने फायरिंग स्टार्ट कर दी ताकि हम लोग करीब ना आ सकें। और मेरे भाई को एक यहाँ गोली लगी और एक पेट में गोली लगी है।
गोली किसने मारी?
शालिग्राम गर्ग ने, धीरेन्द्र कृष्ण शास्त्री के भाई ने। उसके बाद में भी गुंडे आए, गाड़ियों से घूमते रहे। जब वो चला गया वो गाड़ी छोड़ के भाग गया था, तो हम लोग पीछे से गए तो भाई को गोली मार दी। फिर हमको पता चला तो हम लोग पीछे से गए तो मतलब वो गाड़ी छोड़ के भाग चुका है। तो उसके बाद में तो गुंडे आए, लाठी डंडे लेके घूमते रहे गांव में, दबदबा बनाते रहे कि कहाँ गए हैं। हाँ, वैसा सुनने में आ गए। वो सोच रहे कि अभी आगे पाछे मारेंगे, अभी गिरफ्तार भी नहीं हुए हैं। विवाद जमीन को लेकर हुआ था। गौशाला के पास जमीन थी, तो वहाँ पे एक महीने पहली बात है, एक महीने की पहले की। तो एक पंडित लोग हैं, इनके साथ में आवेदन देने के लिए गए थे। तो उन लोगों ने हमें पहले भी डराया धमकाया है कई बार, और अभी कल वो दोपहर में मारपीट कर गए और एक घटना को अंजाम दिया उन लोगों ने।
All right, viewers, let's go across to another big breaking news development that we are getting, and this is the Supreme Court's reaction to the Patna High Court's observation which we are getting. This is Supreme Court which has flagged the verdict, the ruling of Patna High Court, and where after Allahabad High Court's row, another controversial sexual offence verdict has been given. Supreme Court questions judicial sensitivity in sexual offences cases, and lack of research is what Supreme Court says. A sharp rap for Patna High Court. And the Supreme Court also said that when will courts stop minimizing sexual violence? And has the message from the Supreme Court not reached the High Courts? So this was also conveyed by the Supreme Court to the High Courts. Now from Allahabad to Patna, why are similar judgments still being passed? That's the big question that has been asked by the apex court, the Supreme Court, in this regard. And Supreme Court warns against insensitive approach to sexual crime. So this is the statement coming in from Supreme Court over a verdict where, as per the reports that we are getting, the High Court has held that removing a woman's clothes or pressing her chest is not sufficient to establish the offence of attempt to rape in this case. Now, SC has flagged this remark and flagged this rape ruling after Allahabad High Court row, another controversial sexual offence verdict which has been given, and Supreme Court clearly questions the judicial sensitivity in sexual offences cases, and they say the lack of research. Supreme Court's sharp rap for Patna High Court, and the Supreme Court also asked that when will courts stop minimizing sexual violence, and also asked this very important question, that has the message from the Supreme Court not reached the High Courts? And this is from Allahabad to Patna. Why are similar judgments still being passed? That's the big question coming in from the apex court, from the Supreme Court. Why are you passing the similar judgments when we already have given a ruling, when we have given an observation, a verdict in this case? Why are similar verdicts being given even after now? All right, we have Pratibha Prahlad, a women rights activist who joins us from Delhi to talk on this issue, to speak on this issue. Now, Pratibha, it also highlights the fact, however the matter is in court, the insensitivity of the verdicts that are being passed when it comes to attempt to rape cases. However, it's very good that the Supreme Court came into action and have flagged the Patna High Court's no rape comment, and this does not pertain to attempt to rape. Your remarks on this?
So my first remark, because I really haven't read the Patna High Court ruling or the Supreme Court ruling, but my first kind of a reaction to what has happened is that we still have misogynists among judges who don't understand that touching a woman's body, catching her breasts, groping a woman's breast, or touching any parts of her body without her consent is violation. It's violation of the autonomy of a woman's body. And if the constitution, if the law says that women have autonomy on on their body, of their body, that they have a right of their body, the right of their mind, so then nobody can touch any part of a woman's body, especially a sensitive part like the breasts, which is which kind of arouses sexual stimulation. It kind of leads to that. So you cannot touch any part of a woman's body without the consent of a woman. So therefore, by definition, it becomes sexual assault. It becomes violation of a woman's body. It becomes a heinous crime. So I'm really so happy that the Supreme Court has come down on the High Court's judgment and flagged it and said that despite us trying to set things right, as per law, give women autonomy over their body, have different kinds of laws which have come into play after Nirbhaya, which speaks about sexual assault, sexual violation, and the many other things that frame it. Despite that, for a High Court of Patna to say that groping a woman's breast is not rape, not sexual assault, is completely wrong, according to me.
Yeah, the story is about the Patna High Court. When a case came to Patna High Court about a woman who has alleged that when she went into a photo studio, the person tried to shut the door, remove her salwar and tried to press her chest. So that was the story. However, when the High Court gave the verdict, they gave the judgment, they said that this does not amount to attempt to rape in this case. Now, this is the insensitivity of certain judges, which also needs to be highlighted, ma'am. So what's your comment on those judges? Because Supreme Court has clearly mentioned that you should do some research. But apart from that, they need to be more sensitive to cases when it pertains to attempt to rape against women, because where else will the women go if not the High Court? And if such remarks are being passed by the judges in this case, where shall a woman go?
See, the point here to note is that this girl went for a photo shoot and then the man, attempted rape. He may have attempted, rape as is known in the terminology of rape, penetration, or he may have just attempted to touch her, feel her, and, have fun with her. In either which case.
Ma'am, it's shocking. The remark is shocking because the person tried to remove the salwar of the woman. I have to quote it because this is exactly the case. I feel sorry to say all this on air, but he tried to remove the salwar of the woman, that is, remove the clothes of the woman, press the chest of the woman, with all due respect to you, ma'am, addressing you, because this is exactly what happened, and the court remarks that this does not amount to attempt to rape.
It absolutely...
then what will attempt to rape, ma'am? What exactly...
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It absolutely must be categorized as attempt to rape, and any sensible person, any sane person would see it so, that it is attempt to rape. But the point over here is I'm horrified and shocked that we have judges who do not understand that a violation of a woman's body without her consent is not attempt to rape. I can't understand what kind of judges we have. They're either misogynists or they are people who just don't understand the autonomy of a woman's body, and they don't respect it, and they don't give dignity to the autonomy of a woman's body. And so I'm horrified that these kinds of judges are sitting in judgment of such cases. It's insensitive. And it's unlawful, as the Supreme Court has said. It's flagged the Patna High Court, order, and it's completely, against the law as we have it today. A sexual assault, attempt to rape, and this would categorize completely in that, in that category. But what I'm trying to say is, attempt to rape is also as heinous a crime as the act of rape itself. And so, I hope the laws are amended to say that anybody who, violates a woman's body, touches her without her consent, it has to be booked for attempt to rape and must be given the strictest punishment that there is under the law.
Yeah, they should be strictest of punishment in this case. And also, such remarks should not be ignored, even if it comes from the judges. Ma'am, stay with us. We also have a colleague, a correspondent, Sarthak, joining us with all the latest updates. Sarthak, if you can put this into perspective and share the details of the case in the Patna High Court and why exactly the judge made such a comment where they're saying that it does not amount to attempt to rape, when the clear story is that he shut the door, he tried to remove the clothes of the woman, he pressed the chest of the woman, and even after that, this is such an insensitive remark by the Honorable Judge. Sarthak, over to you.
Well, absolutely, Shivam. This is insensitive. This is very inconsiderate of the judge of not taking this case as an attempt to rape and merely a case of outraging the woman's modesty, because this has been pointed out by Justice Purnendu Singh in the Patna High Court that since there was no sort of essentials that are required to establish an attempt to rape, like there was no penetration or any unequivocal attempt in this case that could amount to rape. This is merely this comes under the ambit of section 354 of IPC, which is outraging the woman's modesty, and that's pretty much it. This cannot be considered as an attempt to rape, or cannot be categorized under section 376 or 511 of IPC, and therefore this was suo motu taken in the Supreme Court, where Senior Advocate Shobha Gupta argued the matter that despite a remark that was made by a Supreme Court in a previous hearing in a similar kind of case, because a similar kind of case had happened in the Allahabad High Court as well, against which the Supreme Court had said that there is no reason to believe that this does not amount to attempt to rape, and that was overturned. Yet a similar kind of justification has been given in the Patna High Court, stating that this does not amount to rape. This is just merely outraging the modesty of a woman, and that's why the Supreme Court has suo motu taken this case and taken the cognizance of the case, and the matter will be heard. And but this certainly is very insensitive and very inconsiderate of Justice Purnendu Singh of the Patna High Court of not really considering the sensitivity of the matter, and not really understanding that any sort of attempt over touching the private parts of a woman's body does amount to rape, because if her father would have not entered, if she had not really raised an alarm at that moment, something worse could have happened, because the accused fled after that. So this is really sensitive, and therefore the Supreme Court has taken cognizance of the case on a suo motu basis. And what will happen in the Supreme Court, this is something that we are constantly tracking. Shivam.
Yeah, also, Sarthak, thanks a lot for the update, because I would like to read exactly what the Supreme Court has said. Ma'am Prahlad is also with us. It is directed that all courts shall follow the expression contained in the handbook. States to issue instructions to all police stations to follow handbooks while registering FIR and filing charge sheet. We will upload a reasoned judgment also. So they're clearly mentioning, ma'am, that the staff is doing nothing. The staff is doing nothing. That's the story here, that they are insensitive and there's no research that is happening. But thanks a lot, ma'am, for joining us and for a comment on the story. Thanks a lot, Sarthak, also. All right, viewers, now let's move on to another top story that we are focusing, and this is the protest in POK, where we have visuals coming in from the protest site in Rawalakot. This is the march to Muzaffarabad. Big breaking news development coming in from POK, where tensions are escalating. The Pakistan terror regime, the Pakistani army, is trying to crack down on the protest, the peaceful protest which is happening in Rawalakot, POK. This is a call for a unified march, a long march towards Muzaffarabad, where the men are participating in the long march, but the women and children will continue their sit-in protests. And this is one of the biggest uprisings, one of the biggest protests ever seen in POK in Rawalakot. This is against the Pakistani government, against the brutal Pakistani terror regime, the Pakistani army, and also specifically against the failed field marshal, that is Asim Munir in this case. And look at the pictures. Thousands and thousands of people have joined, lakhs of people have joined in Rawalakot. Visuals coming in of the protest. Let's go across to the reactions that we are getting exclusively from POK.
चुका है अब अपने बुनियादी हुकूक की खातिर, अपनी नस्लों की बका की खातिर और अपनी शनाख्त की खातिर सरापा एहतजाज है। मुजफ्फराबाद में बैठे वो नाम निहाल हुक्मरान हमारी आवाज को कुचलने के लिए हर मुमकिन कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बैरूनी फोर्सेस मंगवा रहे हैं, कत्ले आम कर रहे हैं, बेशुमार नौजवानों को शहीद कर रहे हैं। क्या वो 2 साल की बच्ची भी दहशतगर्द थी? नहीं, ये बैरूनी फोर्सेस, ये NCP और ये रेंजर्स दहशतगर्द हैं, जिन्हें हमें मारने के लिए, हमारी आवाज को कुचलने के लिए बुलाया गया है। मैं तमाम ह्यूमन राइट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से गुजारिश करती हूँ कि वो आए और हमारे ऊपर जो जुल्म हो रहा है उसको देखें।
मेरा कश्मीर आज के दिन लहू लहान है, बेशुमार शहादतें और बेशुमार बुरी खबरें, और आज की रात भी बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है उस हवाले से कि इन ज़ालिमों का कोई पता नहीं है कि हम लोगों को कब ये शहीद कर देंगे, कब मार देंगे। बेशुमार नौजवानों को आज शहीद कर दिया गया। कोई 8-10 की इतला तो हमारे पास पहुंची है, लेकिन कंफर्म नंबर नहीं पहुंच सके कि कितने जो है लोग जो है वो शहीद हो चुके हैं। आम आवाम के ऊपर, निहत्ती आवाम के ऊपर गोलियां चलाई जा रही हैं और हालात बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब हो रहे हैं। दूसरी चीज़ मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ कि पर्सनली जो चीज़ें मैं इस टाइम पे फेस कर रहा हूँ, शायद इतना मुश्किल टाइम मैंने ज़िंदगी में कभी फेस ना किया हो, लेकिन मैं खुद डिस्कस नहीं कर रहा इस वक्त के मुश्किलात में ऑलरेडी बहुत ज़्यादा इजाफा है। बहरहाल दूसरी ये चीज़ है कि एक बहन का पिछले दिनों में ख़त यहाँ पे उमर नज़ीर साहब ने पढ़ा था, जिस बहन के भाई को शहीद किया गया था, और उस बहन का आज जो है वो शोहर, उसको भी शहीद कर दिया गया, और ये दोनों इकलौते भाई थे अपनी पूरी फैमिली के। तो हालात दिन ब दिन बहुत ख़राब हो रहे हैं। गवर्नमेंट वो एग्रीमेंट जिसके ऊपर इन्होंने साइन किया हुआ था, वो एग्रीमेंट गवर्नमेंट उस एग्रीमेंट को उसके ऊपर अमल करने के बजाय जब लेट हो गई, ताख़ीर हो गई, मामलात ख़राब इनके हाथ से खुद हुए, तो अब अपने वादे और उन चीज़ों के ऊपर पर्दा डालने के लिए लोगों के ऊपर गोलियां चलाई जा रही हैं। हमने मासूम बच्चों को आपको दिखाया। कल का जो दिन है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। कल हम यहाँ से आगे मुजफ्फराबाद की तरफ लॉन्ग मार्च करेंगे। दिन 11 बजे के वक्त दिया गया है कि 11 बजे हर बंदा जो है वो ईदगाह ग्राउंड में पहुँच जाए, और फिर यहाँ से आगे इंशाल्लाह मार्च होगा।
मेरी आप सबसे गुजारिश है, हमें कल भी रोका जा रहा था कि आप धरने में ना जाए। एक्शन कमेटी ने ऐसा क्या गलत किया? वो तो हमारे अवाम के हक के लिए आवाज उठा रहे, और वो कह रहे हैं, खबरों में कह रहे हैं, और धरने यहाँ तक रेंजर्स भी कह रहे हैं कि अगर जो लड़के जो बच्चे एक्शन कमेटी में आए हुए, अगर वो पीछे ना गए, उनके पेफॉर्म्स नहीं माने जाएंगे, उनकी चीजें नहीं मानी जाएंगी, उनके शनाख्ती कार्ड नहीं मानेंगे। ये पेफॉर्म है हमारे। अगर हमारे पेफॉर्म नहीं माने जाएंगे, चाहे आप उसके पेफॉर्म अपनी मर्जी से जिया, हमें आपके पेफॉर्म्स की भी जरूरत नहीं है। और मेरी आप सब पाकिस्तानी अवाम से गुजारिश है कि हमारे साथ खड़े हो, हमें हक के लिए आवाज उठा रहे हैं। क्यों आप लोग पीछे खड़े? हमारे साथ अल्लाह खड़ा है, प्लीज हमारा साथ दें। ना सिर्फ पाकिस्तान को बल्कि पूरी दुनिया को ये पैगाम देना चाहती हूँ कि हुकूमत पाकिस्तान ने ये हमें दहशतगर्द और कलअदम करार देती है, और क्योंकि हम 1 महीने से इधर बैठे हैं, हमारा एहतजाज चल रहा है, और ये कह रहे हैं दहशतगर्द क्या तालीम मांगते, क्या अपनी क्या मियारी तालीम मांगते, क्या अस्पताल मांगते? दहशतगर्द तो क्लैशनकोफ मांगते, पिस्तौल मांगते, असला बारूद मांगते। मैं यही कहना चाहूंगी कि क्यों तो पाकिस्तानी मीडिया क्यों बिल्कुल खामोश है ना, उल्टी खंग है, बिल्कुल हमारा नाम ही नहीं ले रही, और जब भी लेती है तो कहते हैं दहशतगर्द है, कश्मीर में दहशतगर्द है। और यही कहना चाहूंगी कि अगर हम दहशतगर्द होते तो ये लाखों के मजमे में लोग और लड़कियां, ये खवातीन अपने गोद वाले बच्चे को इधर लेके आती, ये कोई दहशतगर्द है, आके प्लीज चेक कर दिया जाए। और मैं क्योंकि मेरे पिछले इंटरव्यू में भी यही बोला था कि हामिद मीर और मिस्टर हामिद मीर आए स्टेप ले, वो ये क्योंकि मिस्टर हामिद मीर।
All right, viewers, now let's move on to another big breaking news development that we are getting in the Sena corporate Ramesh Mahatre case, where he has been given bail on medical grounds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the big story that we have been continuously tracking. This is Sena corporator Ramesh Mahatre, and even his doctor Rahul Lahekar, he said to Republic that his blood pressure is fluctuating, which is why he remains under observation. Once his blood pressure stabilizes, we will discharge him. And he was admitted to the hospital yesterday, and he remains under observation. So this big story is, why is his blood pressure fluctuating now? Why didn't it fluctuate when he was attacking the doctors? And this is the leader who assaulted doctors. While he was there on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly the man who was attacking the doctors, assaulting the doctors on duty. And now he is getting bail on medical grounds on 50,000 rupees surety bond. But this is big. He fell ill after he was arrested. Now, we'll go across to the interaction with the doctor. Let's go across to that.
डॉक्टर, अभी रमेश मात्रे का हेल्थ कंडीशन कैसा है?
अभी भी है, बीपी हायर साइड में है, तो ऐसे ट्रीट कर रहे हैं अपन।
तो वो लास्ट टाइम कब एडमिट हुए थे हॉस्पिटल में?
अंडर कस्टडी है, पेशेंट अंडर कस्टडी है, तो पुलिस ही लेके आया है पेशेंट, तो परसों है। हाँ,
अभी उनका क्या सिचुएशन है? मतलब सिर्फ बीपी का प्रॉब्लम है, हाई बीपी है, और क्या और कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स है उनको?
पेशेंट को बुलेट इंजरी हुआ था, उसके कारण उसका एक किडनी निकाल दिया था, तो उसके वजह से भी हाइपरटेंशन हो सकता है और वो कंट्रोल नहीं हो रहा है अभी तक।
तो आज क्या डिस्चार्ज करने वाले हैं उनको?
नहीं, पेशेंट अभी भी कस्टडी में है ना, तो उसके बारे में अभी कुछ अपडेट नहीं है और अंडर ऑब्जर्वेशन है।
मतलब हेल्थ कंडीशन के हिसाब से आज डिस्चार्ज नहीं हो?
हेल्थ के कंडीशन से आज अंडर ऑब्जर्वेशन है हमारे। हाँ,
और ऐसे नॉर्मल क्या स्टेबल सिचुएशन है, क्या बोल?
स्टेबल हायर साइड बीपी है, पल्पिटेशन है।
तो अभी सिर्फ उनका प्रॉब्लम हायर बीपी है और बाकी कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं?
और कुछ नहीं।
तो बीपी जब सेटल हो जाएगा तो वो डिस्चार्ज कर सकते हैं उनको, सिर्फ बीपी का ही प्रॉब्लम?
वो पुलिस कस्टडी में है ना, वो डिस्चार्ज नहीं होंगे, वो पुलिस के पास ही जाएंगे फिर।
हाँ, हॉस्पिटल से डिस्चार्ज हो सकते हैं, सिर्फ बीपी का प्रॉब्लम
सेटल हो गया तो।
All right, Meenakshi is live with us with all the latest updates in the story. Meenakshi, you went to the hospital, you spoke with the doctor, and it's just another textbook example of how a senior leader, he falls ill every time he gets arrested. Same complications and same BP issue that they get. But he did not have a BP issue while he was assaulting the doctors, but now he has a blood pressure issue and he is admitted. Over to you for all the latest details and how he got the bail.
Very nicely you have pointed out, Shivam. This is the main issue, that he has only BP problem, blood pressure problem. But while assaulting doctor, he had not blood pressure issue. And I repeatedly, you have seen that I repeatedly asked a question to doctor that he has only blood pressure issue. Has he only blood pressure issue? He repeatedly said, yes, he has only blood pressure issue. Let me tell you that only for blood pressure issue, how many patients are admitted in this hospital? I wanted to know that actually. For only the issue, only the issue is blood pressure. In this issue, how many patients are admitted in this hospital? Because of his corporator of ruling party, because of his misusing his power. That's why he has he is now getting VVIP treatment in this Thane Civil Hospital, where I am now standing. So this is the main point, and we have exclusively spoke to doctor that he has only blood pressure issue, and he got bail in on this doctor's report that he has health issue. That's why judge gave him bail. And this is the problem of our systems, that normal people have a problem, but they are not able to admit in hospital. But
yes, definitely, you can pop a pill and get rid of the blood pressure issue. But thanks a lot for all the updates, Meenakshi. Keep tracking of all the developments. We'll come back to you as more details emerge. All right, viewers, it's time to slip into a short commercial break, but don't go anywhere because we have a lot more lined up for you. Coming up after the break, ladies and gentlemen, booked, not arrested. Republic accesses FIR copy of Chhatarpur shooting case, attempted murder case registered against accused Shaligram Garg, the brother of Baba Bageshwar. No arrest made yet.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी
और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला।
ये वही हैं, ये प्रश्न उठाने वाले लोग वही हैं जो लोग आज श्री राम जन्मभूमि में चोरी के बारे में इतना हो हल्ला कर रहे हैं। याद करना, श्री राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर के बारे में प्रश्न उठा रहे हैं। घटना जो भी घटित हुई दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण थी और ट्रस्ट के द्वारा जो सिफारिश की गई उसके अनुसार, जो अनुरोध किया गया उसके अनुसार एक एसआईटी उसकी जांच कर रही है, उस पर कार्रवाई भी हो रही है, उसमें कोई वो नहीं। प्रश्न ये उठता है कि जिसमें एक जांच एजेंसी पहले से जांच करके कार्रवाई कर रही है और उसके अनुरूप ट्रस्ट ने कार्रवाई भी प्रारंभ की है, नैतिक आधार पर भी इस्तीफा दिए और उस पर प्रश्न उठाए जा रहे हैं और सीधे सीधे आस्था की खिलवाड़ की बात हो रही है।
A very warm welcome, viewers. You're watching Republic TV. This is Shivam Dutt Mehta. At a time when defense is the focus of the entire world, Republic brings you the marquee defense event of the year, Republic Defense Forces First Conclave. This Saturday, July 18th, in the heart of the national capital, New Delhi, Republic hosts the biggest defense thought leadership gathering the country has seen. A historic congregation where the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy come together with the scientists of DRDO and the leaders of India's defense industry, all on one stage. As the world watches, as global power equations shift, and as India's defense capabilities come under the spotlight like never before, Republic asks the question that matters most. Has Bharat truly emerged as the world's defense powerhouse? Top military commanders, policymakers, defense startups, global giants and industry stalwarts will come together to decode India's defense strategy, its indigenous capabilities and its road ahead on the global stage. This Saturday, July 18th, only on Republic, witness Bharat, the defense powerhouse. All right, viewers, let's begin this bulletin with a big breaking news development now that we are getting. This is the Sena corporator, Ramesh Mahatre, who has got a bail now on medical grounds with the 50,000 surety bond and a bail. And is this not a mockery of law? That's the big question. Is this a VVIP run for the Sena corporator? He falls ill, his blood pressure drops because of medical issues after he gets arrested, and he gets a bail because of that. Now, we also spoke exclusively to the doctor in this case, that is Dr. Rahul Lahekar, who spoke exclusively to Republic, and he said that his blood pressure is fluctuating, which is why he remains under observation. Once his blood pressure stabilizes, we will discharge him. He has not been discharged yet. Now, he was admitted to the hospital yesterday because of blood pressure, and he still remains under observation even till now. So this is the same man who was assaulting doctors, and he was beating doctors, the medical staff, and harassing the doctors, the nurses, and now he's complaining of blood pressure, and he has got a medical issue after that. Now let's go across to the interaction we had with the doctor of Ramesh Mahatre.
डॉक्टर, अभी रमेश मात्रे का हेल्थ कंडीशन कैसा है?
अभी भी बीपी हायर साइड में है, तो ऐसे ट्रीट कर रहे हैं अपन।
तो वो लास्ट टाइम कब एडमिट हुए थे हॉस्पिटल में?
अंडर कस्टडी है, पेशेंट अंडर कस्टडी है, तो पुलिस ही लेके आया है पेशेंट, तो परसों। हाँ,
अभी उनका क्या सिचुएशन है? मतलब सिर्फ बीपी का प्रॉब्लम है, हाई बीपी है, और क्या और कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स है उनको?
पेशेंट को बुलेट इंजरी हुआ था, उसके कारण उसका एक किडनी निकाल दिया था, तो उसके वजह से भी हाइपरटेंशन हो सकता है और वो कंट्रोल नहीं हो रहा है अभी तक।
तो आज क्या डिस्चार्ज करने वाले हैं उनको?
नहीं, पेशेंट अभी भी कस्टडी में है ना, तो उसके बारे में अभी कुछ अपडेट नहीं है और अंडर ऑब्जर्वेशन है।
मतलब हेल्थ कंडीशन के हिसाब से आज डिस्चार्ज नहीं हो?
हेल्थ के कंडीशन से आज अंडर ऑब्जर्वेशन है हमारे। हाँ,
ऐसे नॉर्मल क्या स्टेबल सिचुएशन है, क्या बोल?
स्टेबल, हायर साइड बीपी है, पल्पिटेशन है।
तो अभी सिर्फ उनका प्रॉब्लम हायर बीपी है और बाकी कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं?
और कुछ नहीं।
तो बीपी जब सेटल हो जाएगा तो वो डिस्चार्ज कर सकते हैं उनको, सिर्फ बीपी का ही प्रॉब्लम?
वो पुलिस कस्टडी में है ना, वो डिस्चार्ज नहीं होंगे, वो पुलिस के पास ही जाएंगे फिर।
हॉस्पिटल से डिस्चार्ज हो सकते हैं, सिर्फ बीपी का प्रॉब्लम
सेटल हो गया तो।
BJP leader Ram Kadam joins us on a phone line to talk on the issue. Mr. Ram Kadam, what do you have to say on him getting a bail on medical grounds? He had no blood pressure issue while he was attacking the doctors, and now he gets the bail on medical grounds. Ram Kadam ji.
Whatever has been done by Mr. Ramesh Mhatre, being a corporator, the way he manhandled doctor, which is not, we do not support his action. In fact, government has taken immediately action. FIR is already lodged. But in the court of law, on the medical ground, the Honorable Court has given bail. But as far as the government is concerned, government has taken strict action against him, and we do not support such kind of actions anymore in Maharashtra. Even though the person is from which party or whoever his position is, we do not support that.
But there's a similarity, Mr. Mhatre. I completely understand your point, that is that the case is in the Honorable Court. However, there's a similar pattern which is observed in certain cases of this kind, which amounts to the VVIP treatment that is given to certain leaders in this case. I would like to repeat the fact that he himself knows he has a blood pressure issue. Then why he goes on to become a vigilante, attacking doctors? Doesn't he care about his health then, sir?
Allow me to complete. There was absolutely no VIP treatment. This is some media perception. When the doctor checked him and his blood pressure was fluctuating, and in that case, for any person, naturally, they allow him hospitalization. And that's a human right for everyone. Now the point is whether we did not protect him, we did not save him. The government has taken strict action against him, and in the court of law we have certain limitations, being a government also, and the court has given him bail. So you cannot say that the government has given him VIP treatment. Absolutely not. I do not accept this at all.
Yeah, but there has been a delay, a little bit delay comparatively to associates being arrested first and then him. But thanks a lot, sir, for joining us and for a comment on what exactly happened. Yeah. All right, viewers, now let's move on to another stories that we are tracking. Another big breaking news development. This is coming from Pakistan. The brutal Pakistan regime, the Pakistani army. There has been an FIR now against a Pakistani politician who had earlier exposed the Pakistani army. And he had actually challenged the Pakistani army to come and contest elections if they really want to rule, because there is an indirect military rule which is ongoing since a very long time in Pakistan. And this man, this Pak politician, this brave Pak politician, exposed the Pakistani army. And now the Pakistani army has registered an FIR. The Pakistani government has registered an FIR against this Pak politician who challenged the Pakistani army. Let's go across to the statement from the Pak politician.
मुल्क उजड़ रहा है। खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में आज कोई हुकूमत नहीं है और मैं वहां से आया हूं। मैं बताना चाहता हूं पंजाब के लोगों कि मगरिब का सूरज गुरूब, सुबह सूरज के तुलू होने तक पुलिस अपने थाने से बाहर नहीं आती, और जब पुलिस थाने से बाहर नहीं आएगी तो फिर सड़कें मुसल्लह गिरोहों के सपुर्द होंगी। फिर सड़कें और रास्ते डाकुओं के रहमो करम पर होंगे। आपकी हाकिमियत को मैं अपने सूबे में जानता हूं। तुम्हारी कोई हुकूमत नहीं है। तुम सिर्फ दारुल हुकूमतों में अपने बड़े बड़े बंगलों के अंदर बैठे हुए हो, टांग पे टांग डालकर समझते हो कि हम हुक्मरान हैं। कम से कम मेरे सूबे में तुम्हारी कोई हुकूमत नहीं है। बलोचिस्तान में, बलोच इलाकों में बगावतें थी। पूरा बलोच इलाका पाकिस्तान के इख्तियार से निकल चुका था। आज भी वहां पर पाकिस्तान हुकूमत की कोई रिट मौजूद नहीं है। लेकिन हम तो बलोच इलाके को रो रहे थे, अब तो पश्तून इलाका भी खून में नहा रहा है। पश्तून इलाके में हमने 2-3 दिन के अंदर 50 से ज्यादा लाशें वसूल की हैं। हमने बाजारों में एक ही काम किया कि अपने प्यारों के लिए कफन खरीद सकें। फिर कहते हैं हमारे जवान भी तो शहीद हो रहे हैं। ओ बाबा, तेरे जवानों ने पेटी इसीलिए बांधी है, तनख्वाह इसी के ले रहे हैं कि उसने मुल्क की सलामती के लिए लड़ना है। तुम अपने खून का मेरे ऊपर क्या एहसान डालते हो? तुम मेरे खून पसीने के टैक्स से इसी बात के लिए तो तनख्वाह ले रहे हो, लेकिन हमें कहते हो कि तुम लश्कर निकालो, तुम असलहा लेकर मुसल्लह गिरोहों के खिलाफ लड़ो। मैंने कोई तनख्वाह नहीं ली, मैं कोई लश्कर नहीं बनाऊंगा। तुम चले जाओगे, तुम मेरी सरजमीन को आने वाली नस्लों तक जाती दुश्मनियों की तरफ धकेल रहे हो।
All right, viewers, now let's move on to another big breaking news development that we are tracking, and this is from the Supreme Court, which has flagged Patna High Court's no attempt to rape ruling on a case where a woman was groped and her clothes were removed by a man in a photo studio. And this has been flagged by the Supreme Court, the Patna High Court's ruling of no attempt to rape in such cases where clearly a woman's clothes were removed and her chest was pressed. And the Patna High Court said that this does not amount to attempt to rape. Now, after Allahabad High Court Rao, another controversial sexual offence verdict, and Supreme Court questions the judicial sensitivity in sexual offences cases, and also says that there is lack of research on behalf of the High Court and the staff of High Court. And this is Supreme Court's sharp rap for Patna High Court. And also, Supreme Court mentions that when will courts stop minimizing sexual violence? And also, the Supreme Court asked that has the message from the Supreme Court not reached the High Courts? Now, from Allahabad to Patna, why are similar judgments still being passed? And this is the Supreme Court's warning, where they says this is warning against insensitive approach to sexual crimes. Insensitive remarks by judges, where a similar pattern can be seen from Allahabad to Patna. And the Supreme Court took motu cognizance of the matter and made a comment and said that you can't do that and there's lack of research. Brinda Adige joins us live for a comment on what exactly happened and the insensitive remarks in certain cases. Brinda, coming to you for a comment, what will be your take? Because just imagine if Supreme Court would not have intervened in such cases. The story is a woman went to a photo studio and the owner of the photo studio, he shut the door, he removed the clothes of the woman, he pressed the chest, and the court is saying that this does not amount to attempt to rape. How insensitive, Brinda?
It's not only insensitive, it also shows the lack of training. We all the time assume that judges in courts are supposed to be learned, educated people. They are the ones who interpret the law. So even if the law might have a narrow understanding or a narrow definition, the judge has the power and the authority to interpret in a wider horizon, in a wider sense, to extend the letter and spirit of the law, justice to the aggrieved person. But here it has been, not, like you mentioned, it's not just this Patna High Court. We have seen other high courts also make such callous remarks. retrograde, sexist, patriarchal remarks. And again, my question to the Supreme Court is, what does the warning entail? Does it entail that that particular order will be struck off the case? Does it entail that another order will be there which is much more progressive? What does it entail? Do you put the entire burden on the victim survivor to come and make an affidavit to take that callous order back and then ask for a progressive order? So you see, these are all the many small details that you and I must question the courts for. Because at the end of the day, for women, safety, justice, and for that victim survivor, courts are our last resort. And if the judges in courts behave and speak in such a manner, where can this citizen go? And this is just unacceptable. Supreme Court, during Mr. Chandrachud's time, brought out certain words and phrases which are gender sensitive, which should not be, where judges must not be talking the language that is gender stereotypical, biased and prejudiced. So have these judges not been trained on all those words and phrases? Should judges not be evaluated and trained on a periodic, regular basis? These are very, very serious questions. Judicial reforms are still lagging behind. Over the last 20 years, no judicial reforms have happened.
Yeah, definitely, Brinda. But also, the Supreme Court makes it quite clear that the judges also have to do some research. But there's also something called common sense in many cases, because there are technicalities that were quoted, that were referred to in this case, and they said that this does not attempt to penetration or something of that sort. But what about the sequence, the chronology of events? What next? Were you waiting for something to happen and then you call it attempt to rape? When rape happens, will you wait for a rape to happen and then call it attempt to rape, and it falls on that line now? It didn't fall earlier, now it falls on that line. Removal of clothes does not attempt to rape. Pressing of chest does not attempt to rape. Then there has to be certain rule book or something of that sort that defines what an attempt to rape is. And there should be a better explanation, a better definition, Brinda.
Well, we might harp on the definition, but that also means amendment, and it has to have the parliament's consent. Right now, the judges have the authority to interpret in the widest sense of that phrase and word. So somebody's breasts are touched, the salwar is brought down. What was it for? Obviously, it is an attempt to rape. What is the judge explaining? That it is not attempt to rape, as rape has not happened. When rape happens, it is called rape. This is attempt to rape. The English words and phrase is very clear. The problem is with the petty understanding of the judge. We all the time tell ourselves that you cannot criticize the judge. Why not? It was a colonial era where they said the judge is the Lord. Me, Lord cannot be challenged and questioned. We are today in mother of democracies. He is another citizen just like me. In fact, I am the taxpayer who is ensuring that his salaries or her salaries are paid. So he is accountable to the people and the Constitution. So when he makes these statements, did he uphold constitutional morality from where the law has come? If he has not upheld constitutional morality, if he has not upheld the letter and spirit of the law, then he is wrong. And we must be able to call him out and say, you are wrong. Amend it. Strike that phrase out from your judgment. We should not be pussyfooting around judges. Yeah. Judges must be held accountable.
Yeah, and the way it has just been categorized to just merely outraging a woman's modesty. Yogita Bayan is also joining us for a comment on this issue. What do you think should exactly be the definition? Because it's bizarre, it's shocking, the kind of remark which was made by the High Court, the Patna High Court in this regard. And also, you very well understand, Yogita Bhayana, when a verdict is given, a ruling or observation is given, a precedent is set for other courts to follow. Had the Supreme Court not intervened, what would have happened? Yogita Bhayana, coming to you for a comment on the entire sequence of events that happened.
It is not only Patna High Court, also Allahabad High Court, also Maharashtra, Mumbai High Court also had made such comments. And, you know, end of the day, Vindaji was also mentioning, these are people, you know, coming from citizens only, they become judges, but understanding how they perceive a woman, how they personally think, reflects on their judgment. So it might be their personal opinion which they make it as a judgment. He might be a very insensitive judge, insensitive person. And then, of course, he is holding a position where he is putting his thoughts into his judgments, which is scary. It should be one norm kind of a thing. Yeah. When it comes to giving a, kind of a sentence, we understand that they have to go by evidences and they go by their own wisdom. But in these things, very, very clear, law also defines, it's not the personal perception or personal thought process. Law clearly defines its attempt to rape. How can he interpret it otherwise? First, morally also, if he's not very sensitive towards women also, he himself has a certain thought process, it reflects there. So it is very scary situation. I think, first of all, I know it is a very big thing to say on your channel. They need to read the law. First, I am telling a judge to read the law. I know it is very ironical.
Yeah.
Secondly, I am telling him to be more gender sensitive, have some sensitiveness towards the cost of gender trainings, which we do for school kids. I think they also need that. And they need it more than that, because school kids you can reform, and these guys sitting there, they have no sense. They can't be changed so easily. So I think in their training centers itself, when we talk about police reforms also, we say we should do police training in the training hub itself, because it is too late otherwise. For them also, selection process also should include gender sensitive training. Otherwise, we really keep fighting, we keep debating on and on, for various judgments have come up. So very unfortunate, but these people have to be kind of taken for task in terms of, we can't see them going away from their seat. But what we can at least see is that Supreme Court has taken cognizance. Pull up means they should go for training. Pull up means tell them to go for some kind of a incubation where they learn and come out as more gender sensitive, more legally aware people.
So you're saying that there should be a stronger action comparatively to what has been done. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot, Yogita and Brinda. Thanks a lot for your comment. We'll come back to you as more details emerge in the story. Thanks a lot. All right, viewers, now let's move on to another big breaking news development that we are getting in this regard. In another case, NC and BJP have backed LAHDC Kargil budget. The budget has been approved in LAHDC Council, and the move comes after NC and Congress power sharing has collapsed in that matter. Big breaking news development on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. The budget was approved in the LAHDC Council. This is NC and BJP coming together and backing the LAHDC Kargil budget. Big breaking news development on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. This is coming in from Kargil. This is BJP and NC coming together on one issue. And this is NC BJP backing the LAHDC Kargil budget. Now, this development marks a significant political realignment in Kargil, ladies and gentlemen. And this move comes amid the collapse of the NC Congress power sharing arrangement. This is about the differences over the rotational chief executive councillor, that is the CEC agreement that triggered the entire political crisis. And NC-BJP cooperation has ensured that the budget received the required majority. That was important in this case. And this development is an indicator of changing alliances in Ladakh. All right, Zeenat is live with us with all the latest updates in this story. Zeenat, is this an indicator of a changing alliance in Ladakh? This is NC and BJP coming together for a particular issue, and there are differences between the NC and Congress.
See, definitely there seems a change in the political dynamics as far as this council is concerned, the Kargil Autonomic Council is concerned, because earlier this was formed on the basis of the numbers that the alliance partners got. The NC had an alliance with the Congress, and there was an agreement in 2023 that first the National Conference will be headed by the Dr. Jafar Akhund, whose term will be of 2.5 years, and later it will be taken over by the Congress. But there had been a no confidence motion that was issued by Dr. Farooq Abdullah after Akhund refused to step down, because the Congress was asking them, let them take over. Now, what is coming anew from the Ladakh this time is that day before yesterday, the budget of the council was passed, and this time many of the Congress members stay away, and National Conference got the support from the BJP, and with the result, the budget is somewhere around 330 crore rupees. That tells you that on the one side, we are seeing the National Conference going all against Bharatiya Janata Party, and it comes to protest in New Delhi on the 20th of July. And then on the other side, we see that in Ladakh, the NC is having an alliance with the BJP, because we are now, Dr. Akhon has said that with the change of dynamics as far as the new districts have come up, the administration needs him more. The Congress is sulking, and they have not, many of the members, in fact, did not attend this budget meeting. And that tells you now there is a complete rift when it comes between the National Conference Congress and the Congress within the party. Alleged that the National Conference has switched sides and is running the BJP agenda in Ladakh. In Jammu and Kashmir, now we see Agha Ruhullah, the MP from National Conference in Srinagar, again training the guns towards Omar Abdullah, asking Omar that when he was campaigning for this assembly elections, there he asked people
so
to
definitely,
vote
this is the power-sharing agreement that was between NC and Congress. This has failed because Dr. Mahmood Jafar Akhun, he has refused to step down. Thanks a lot for all the updates, Zenith. Keep a track of all the developments. We'll come back to you as more details emerge. All right, it's time to slip into a short commercial break, but don't go anywhere because we have a lot more lined up for you after a short break. Coming up next, after Imran Khan, this is yet another Pakistan politician who faces the wrath of the Pakistan army. FIR has been filed against Pak politician who exposed Asim Munir's forces.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट, ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
AU करंट अकाउंट के साथ मिलता है फ्री UPI QR ओवरड्राफ्ट फैसिलिटी और एक ही ऐप से बैंक के सारे काम। AU
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we suspect that Pakistan is back to its old and dirty tricks again. And we have proof which has come with us that they are planning some terrorism in response to our firm decision to keep the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Now, we've kept the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance post-Pahalgam because that is what they deserve. These are of Lashkar terrorists being trained with some hyperbolic jihadi music in the background. And they are being trained by the Lashkar-e-Toiba. This footage has come out. They are being trained by a US-designated Lashkar terrorist called Haris Dar. And these are all Lashkar terrorists. They are being trained. And they are being trained in dams, in waters of dams in Pakistan. And he is addressing these water jihad recruits in front of a water body, and he says, "Agla step hamara dam mein aata hai, Mangla Dam mein. Our issue over water is with India." And then he wants and says, something bigger is going to happen in 2026. That's the video of him on the right, where he says something big is going to happen over the water issue in 2026. Then he's parroting the line of the Pakistani government. Remember, the man on the right is not just any fanatic. He's a US designated, very well known.
A very warm welcome, viewers. You're watching Republic TV. This is Shivam Dutt Mehta. Now, the West Asia conflict has entered another dangerous phase. The United States has launched a fresh round of strikes on Iran, saying the attacks are aimed at degrading Tehran's strike capabilities, even as reports emerge of fierce clashes in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran, meanwhile, claims it has struck military targets in Bahrain and Kuwait, raising fears of an even wider regional escalation. Let us take a look at the full report with the latest developments.
The United States has launched a fresh wave of strikes on Iranian targets, with Washington saying the attacks are intended to weaken Iran's ability to carry out further missile and drone strikes. The strikes come just ahead of an unexpected naval blockade around Iran, further raising tensions in the Gulf. Iran has responded by announcing the third phase of Operation Nasser 2. IRGC claims its drones targeted enemy warehouses at Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain and the MQ-9 drone ramp at Ali Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait. With fresh US strikes, expanding Iranian retaliation and active fighting, fears of a wider regional conflict continue to grow, with global shipping routes and oil supplies now under increasing threat.
All right, viewers, time to slip into a short commercial break. But don't go anywhere because we have a lot more lined up for you. Coming up after the break, day after Tamil Nadu government issues anti-bribery helpline, TVK leader caught red-handed accepting bribe.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
All right, coming up next after a short commercial break, a Pakistani politician has exposed the Pakistani army and said that if they really want to rule Pakistan, they should contest the elections. But an FIR has been registered against him.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चंकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ।
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
Ladies and gentlemen, we suspect that Pakistan is back to its old and dirty tricks again. And we have proof which has come with us that they are planning some terrorism in response to our firm decision to keep the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Now, we've kept the Indus...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very good afternoon. We are live and we are breaking. This is a big story that is coming in. It will set the national agenda for today. We have just got to know, and we'll put out those pictures where the CPIM General Secretary M.A. Baby is seen meeting the CGP founder Deep K, and soon after that he's seen at a Chinese embassy event. Why is that? Is there a Chinese link which is coming out in the open? Well, it is something that Deep K has not told the rest of India about. We'll go ahead, tell you more, but the headlines first. Let's get started.
बलोच इलाका पाकिस्तान के इख्तियार से निकल चुका था, आज भी वहां पर पाकिस्तान हुकूमत की कोई रिट मौजूद नहीं है। अब तो पश्तून इलाका भी खून में नहा रहा है।
Top headlines we're tracking right now. The Pakistani army is exposed by its own leaders. Pakistani politicians say that Pakistan has no control over its own provinces. Protests against Pakistan are continuing in POK with movement leaders rejecting Pakistan's disputed territory narrative as people protest and march in defiance. Thousands began march from Rawala Court in Muzaffarabad as protests intensified in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. A day after Tamil Nadu government issues anti-bribery helpline, TVK leader caught red-handed accepting bribe. NCP SP Supriya Sule drops big hint on support to ND and says party still undecided on delimitation. Republic accesses a FIR copy of Chhatarpur shooting case, attempted murder case registered against accused Shaligram Garg. No arrest made yet. And NCP SP drops a big hint about the future that it has in mind when it comes to the delimitation bill and other aspects. Alright viewers, getting you some big updates coming in. A major controversy is erupted. We'll put out those pictures in a short while from now so you can have a look for yourself what is happening. In those pictures, you will see left leaders meeting the Cockroach Janata Party leaders, and they're also meeting Chinese officials after that. We'll put out those pictures in a short while so you can have a look yourself. So the question is a China CJP controversy is breaking out? And this is coming just before the parliament session. Top leader from the left are seen with Deep K at Jantar Mantar and Sonam Wangchuk, and also with the Chinese envoy. These are the pictures we have got for you. On your screen, this is CPIM General Secretary MA Baby meeting with Deep K and Sonam Wangchuk at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi. And let's put out some pictures that we have for you. In those pictures, look at this. First, you will see that these CPI leaders are meeting Chinese envoys at an event. This is an event and at the Chinese embassy. You can see this is MA Baby and D Raja, both of them left leaders. And now on the other side of the screen, you can see that they are also at the Cockroach Janata Party protest. On your screen, you will see once again MA Baby, CPI leader, with Brinda Karat, CPI leader, and Abhijit Deepke, who is a CJP founder. Now, what exactly is happening here? And what is the link? Well, to understand this further, I really want to go across to our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, I'm coming across to you right now. Now, what we see on our screens is asking a few questions. And the question we're asking is that why would the CPI leaders meet Deepke and then soon after be seen at a Chinese embassy event? Abhishek.
Well, you see, Shivangi, the communists' Chinese connection is an open secret going back to their very establishment, both the CPI and the CPM. Now, what is interesting is that on 29th of June, Brinda Karat and M.A. Babi, they visited the CJP protest site at Jantar Mantar. And on 10th of July, they are visiting the Chinese embassy and this event organized by the embassy, ostensibly an outreach. But if you look at it, this Chinese embassy event where the communist leadership is present comes just within fortnight of the beginning of the monsoon session, which starts on July 20. So the question that needs to be asked is whether this was some kind of ideological coming together. Remember on June 29th, when the communist leadership visited the CJP protests, someone asked them why you have come now, because the CJP protests themselves had been going on for about 15-20 days. There, Brinda Karat responded by saying that they have been associated with the CJP from the very beginning. We have known for a fact from our reporting on the ground that the communist student organizations like the ISA, they have been active, have been providing ballast in terms of numbers present on the ground for the CJP protests. And now the top levels of communist leadership visiting CJP, attending Chinese embassy event, coming as it does ahead of the monsoon session of parliament, raises questions whether there have been some kind of confabulations, whether there was some exchange of notes, whether another round of CJP protests is planned, whether behind the scenes there is a lot of support being provided, not actually behind the scenes, even on the face of it, you look at it, very open support being provided and coordination being done so that an anarchist movement like the CJP sustains itself. We have seen how it has actually fizzled out, but still you are seeing, for example, Sonam Wangchuk continuing with his fast. We have seen voices coming in his support, howsoever feeble, because they do not have mass traction, mass support coming in for them. But still, there is an ideological alignment. There is coming together of interest, it seems, to sort of destabilize the social situation in the country, perhaps to try to put the government on the mat. Even if they have not succeeded to the level they would have wanted, coming together of interest is visible in these pictures, is what we are getting, Shivangi. And that's why we thought we should bring it out and show it to our viewers and the people of the country that the CJP is not what it is projecting to be, a youth-led student movement. It is actually a phalanx of the communist leadership, of the communist movement in the country, having failed to get any traction with the masses, any resonance with the masses. The communists are perhaps trying to piggyback on what they thought that in India they could also replicate a Gen Z kind of movement that we have seen panning out in countries like Nepal and Bangladesh. Obviously, they have failed, and the reason the clearest picture of their failure was that Rahul Gandhi, went on a vacation midway because he realized that his Chhatro ki Goonj is not getting any traction with the larger masses except for the Congress support system. And of course, in the case of CJP, this communist support, that's been very open. But it was intriguing that their communist leaders should be visiting the Chinese embassy event ahead of the parliament session, the monsoon session that begins on July 20. And that's why we thought we should bring out those pictures. Shivangi.
That's right. Stay on with us, Abhishek, because I want our viewers to also have a look at these pictures. And you, of course, helping our viewers understand that since the left is not really going anywhere, do you think the left is trying to gain whatever support that they can? Is the meeting between the left leaders and the Cockroach Janata Party leaders is a political convenience?
Well, more than political convenience, it's seeking relevance. And it's essentially the communist leadership trying to get some toehold or attempting to get some toehold. They have obviously failed at all levels, except for some pockets of influence here and there, essentially on campuses like the JNU. And that's why we have seen from the day one left student organizations like the SFI and the AISA, ISA as it is called, coming in and providing some element of, an attempt at showing that there is some kind of student support to the CJP, which obviously it's not there. Otherwise, it would have got reflected in the other protests that the CJP has held in cities outside of New Delhi. And that's why everything ultimately fizzling out at other places. They have come back to Jantar Mantar because there is some level of critical mass available so far as the left student bodies are concerned. And that's why the communist leaders sort of blessing this movement, trying to sustain it. Of course, they are not succeeding insofar as mass support is concerned, but within their ecosystem, within their echo chamber, you are seeing they are trying to prop it up till the time that they can. And in that backdrop, to be meeting the Chinese embassy, as I said, Chinese embassy and the Chinese ambassador can be seen in the pictures. But as I said, Shivangi, that the Communist-China connection is an open secret. So it's, but the fact that it's coming in between these two events, the CJP protests and the monsoon session of Parliament, makes us wonder whether there is some kind of coordination that's being done to sustain this movement, which is essentially an anarchist movement and is aimed at destabilizing the government of the country.
That's right. Abhishek, I want to stay on. I wanted to stay on with our viewers because our viewers who are watching right now really want to know a little bit more about the questions specifically that Republic TV has raised. We have been saying that the massive following is it's inorganic. That's something that Republic has talked about earlier, and there were reports of that. A lot of questions have been raised as well, Abhishek, on foreign funding. How is how is he running this? In fact, many journalists have questioned their spokespersons directly about how are they running their entire party. So when we look at these pictures, does something ring a bell, Abhishek?
Well, you see, so far as sustaining these protests are concerned, remember, Shivangi, it has been discussed so many times already that who's really bankrolling this protest, who's bankrolling this movement, if it can be called that, or an attempt to create a movement, who's supporting it, what are the forces that are behind creating a Gen Z kind of movement where none existed in the country. We have seen open political statements of support coming in from the likes of none other than Rahul Gandhi and Arvind Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party. We have seen support being provided by the communist parties and their student wings to the CJP. We have seen the Congress parallelly trying to start its own students' campaign based on the NEET paper leak, but obviously it did not succeed.
Absolutely.
I believe we have somebody on the phone line, Shivangi.
Yes, we have with us. I think we're getting some reactions coming in. If you could confirm, okay, Mr. Dinesh Varshani, senior CPIM leader, is joining us. Abhishek, would you like to take that over? All right, I'll go first. Mr. Dinesh, can you hear us?
Can.
All right, I just want to ask you, we're discussing about these pictures that the CPI leader, MA Baby, D. Raja, they were at a Chinese embassy event just after meeting the founder of CJP. What exactly was that event about at the Chinese embassy?
It's an absolute rubbish imagination of your television channel or whosoever has reported to you. The CJP protest in Delhi at Jantar Mantar is a protest by the students, and more than 30 student organizations have joined that protest. And whatever the event was there in Chinese embassy, that was the foundation day ceremony of the CPC, Communist Party of China, and in which the left parties of India have joined it because they have fraternal relations with the Chinese Communist Party. Even BJP have a fraternal relations with the Chinese Communist Party. Even Congress have a fraternal relation with the Chinese Communist Party. It is all rubbish. This is an imagination to tarnish the justified movement of the student community, youth community of the country against the paper leak, against the unemployment, against the attack on public education and closing the 98,000 government schools. This is all to hide the chori of the Modi government. Chori of the Modi government, not only in Ram Mandir, but each and every public services through privatization, through contractualization, handing over the entire public services, tried to attempt to give the jungles to the monopoly, a particular one or two monopoly. It is an attempt by the monopolization.
Mr. Vashne.
Always the justified movement in last 14, 12 years under the Modi
Mr.
government
Vashne.
has been directed against this insinuation against them.
Mr. Vashne, in fact, what you are saying is insinuation or rather communist trope that this is about privatization, liberalization, which incidentally began under the Congress government of Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh. And Manmohan Singh during the UPA years when the communist parties supported the UPA government was carrying on with liberalization and privatization programs. But my question is that no. My question is, but we are staying on the present. My question is, Mr. Vashne, and you are liberty to answer as per your ideological position. My question is, you visit the CJP protests. It's part of democracy. You can be there, but going to a Chinese embassy event and then this meeting or this attending the event happens just ahead of the parliament session. Obviously, when we know the kind of connection that the Communist Party has had historically with the Chinese Communist Party, and when CJP is clearly seen as an anarchist attempt at creating discord in society, then why should we not connect the dots?
First of all, the CJP protest at Jantar Mantar is not an anarchist attempt. The anarchist attempt is the Ram Mandir Chori. The Dakati is Ram Mandir Chori. And
are you a believer of Ram Mandir, Mr. Vashne?
Attending the event at Chinese.
Are you a believer of? Have you become a believer of Lord Ram and the Ram Temple suddenly, Mr. Vashne?
No, it's not a question whether I believe in God
because
or not.
Are you in pain? Like as a believer, I am in pain because of the theft at Ram Temple. Are you in pain?
Obviously, I am in pain against every chori of the people's money. Whether is it in Ram Mandir or Badrinath or Kedarnath or any religious shrine. If I don't believe in God does not mean that you are allowed to have the chori in the religious and sanctums of the country. This is absolutely absurd.
Okay, now, I don't know whether you are saying you're not a believer of Ram Temple, but you are saying you are pained at the chori, which is granted. But now my next question, which was about why should we not connect the dots when a visit to the Chinese embassy of the communist leadership comes in between CJP protests and the parliament session?
Not only communist leadership has visited the parliament. Aam Party has visited, Congress MP have visited, NCP MP has visited, Samajwadi Party MLA and MP visited, even other political parties are visiting because it is the justified movement of the student community and youth community of the country against the designated, against the well-thought paper leaks to avoid the employment of the youth, to keep the youth and students away from developing the scientific temperament and leading toward the parochial idea of conservativeness.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dinesh Vashne, for sparing your time and joining us with your perspective. With that, we hand it over back to the studio. Over to you, Shivangi.
Well, thank you, Abhishek, for helping the viewers understand and decode these pictures that we are seeing on our screens, on our pictures. Are raising many questions. Major controversy erupting over left leaders meeting the Cockroach Janata Party leaders and Chinese officials. This is a controversy breaking out just days before Parliament session. This is a story will be setting the national agenda because many questions are being raised. Top left leaders are seen with Deepke at Jantar Mantar and with the Chinese envoy. So to show you those pictures, we have put out on your screen what is happening. First, we saw that M.A. Baby and Brinda Karat, both of them CPI leaders, met Abhijit Deepke, the Cockroach Janata Party founder. And shortly after that, he was the left leaders were seen at a Chinese embassy event, which is raising questions once again about the foreign links and funding links. These are questions which have been raised again and again about the Cockroach Janata Party. Many questions have been raised about Cockroach Janata Party and their so-called following. So those are some questions which have been raised specifically. Critics raising questions about how did the Cockroach Janata Party get so many followers Also, there has been a lot of questions about the foreign funding, if there's any foreign funding, inorganic bot campaign that Deep K could be using to inflate his follower numbers, and the suspicious spikes of followers from outside India. And that is something that we have been talking about. Critics have been raising these questions. On your screen, this is Republic, super exclusive, showing you these two pictures and a really asking question that is there a China link which is coming out? So getting you back-to-back updates coming in here, viewers of Republic TV, a major controversy has now erupted with these pictures. Of course, we'll be discussing this story the entire day. Major controversy erupting over left leaders meeting the Cockroach Janata Party officials, leaders and Chinese officials. China Cockroach Janata Party controversy breaks out just days before Parliament session. Okay, let's put out some more pictures which are coming in for our viewers. So on your screen, there are two pictures. Left-hand side, you can see that the left leaders are at a Chinese embassy event. Now, we did speak to the left leader right now, and they said that they denied all the allegations completely, but the pictures show a different story. On the right-hand side, you can see that the same leaders, specifically M.A. Baby, is seen speaking to Deep K and Sonam Wangchuk, both of them present at that protest. So these events happened in a very short duration of time, which is raising many questions about links which could be coming out. Like our senior executive editor was saying, that is this an attempt of the left to gain relevance at a time, right now, at these politically, at this time, because we see that the left has been trying to gain relevance. And could this be a tactic from this side? But the bigger question is that is there a China link to the Cockroach Janata Party? So major controversy erupting over left leaders meeting the Cockroach Janata Party founders and Chinese officials. China Cockroach Janata Party controversy breaking out. Remember that the Parliament session is going to begin very soon. So just before that, we see that there has been these pictures which have come out. All right, we're getting some more reactions coming in. Saira Shah Halim, CPIM leader, is joining us. Thank you for joining us here. My question to you is, we've spoken to another senior CPIM leader a short while back, and when we asked them that what were the CPIM leaders really doing at that Chinese embassy event, we did not really get a straight answer. Could you please tell us what this picture we are seeing is all about? Why did CPIM leaders meet the Cockroach Janata Party founder and then was seen immediately at this event, Chinese embassy event?
See, the question is not who met the CJP people. The point is Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan resigning or not? There is someone, Sonam Wangchuk, who is, on a hunger strike for more than 18 days and his situation is precarious. Now the government is on the back foot very clearly, so they are cooking up these, narratives of China link and this link and that link. The point is that the next paper, NET paper leak, is Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan and is the BJP government taking accountability of the derails in the education system or not? That is the bigger question. The bigger question is not about who came and met CJP, whether it was the left or the right, or the Congress. The bigger question is that the BJP should not deflect on a very different issue. Had it been any other country, the education minister would have stepped down by now and taken moral responsibility of so many people who had to end their lives because of the NET paper leak and the scams going on in the education system. That is a bigger question that you journalists at Republic should ask.
Saira, we have asked that question when it happened, and the democratic right to protest is legitimate. It's there. Communist leaders visiting CJP protest site is legitimate. It's there. But we have to question whether the visit to the Chinese embassy ahead of the Parliament session and in between the CJP protests, and given the kind of ideological coming together of interest we have seen between the CJP and the communist leadership, that's why we are asking this question, Saira.
I don't think I don't know who visited the Chinese embassy, but today if there is a Chinese
on air,
embassy,
Saira. It's both Mr. M.A. Babi and D. Raja.
No, 1 second. If a Chinese embassy exists in India or in Delhi, the Indian government knows about it, that the consulate exists, the embassy exists. It's not that it is operating in a cohort manner, right? So it's a legit organization that exists. So the point is that we should stop making and floating these controversy narrative and stories and put pressure on the government to ensure that the scams in the education system, they are done away with, and that the education minister has to take accountability of whatever is happening. It's as simple as that.
All right. I think we'll let you go there. Thank you so much, Saira Shah Aleem, joining us. But the story of the top communist leadership of the country meeting the Chinese ambassador, attending a Chinese embassy event, and before that going to the CJP protests, giving full support and providing ground ballast to the CJP, where it has failed to grow organically, where it has failed to get any traction organically on its own, clearly suggests that there is coming together of the communist movement and the CJP, which was sought to be projected as a student movement and an organic Gen Z kind of protest, which obviously it is not. And that's what these pictures really expose, that CJP is not a Gen Z movement, not a youth movement. It is more like a communist movement. The communist parties trying to jockey on piggybacking on one leader by the name of one alleged leader by the name of Dipke, and trying to present that as some kind of organic protest. Back to you, Shivangi.
All right. Abhishek, our senior executive editor, really explaining to us what exactly is happening in the story, and really talking about it in details, what these pictures really mean. So on your screens, we have put out those two pictures. In fact, I want to come back to you, Abhishek. I want to come back to you because we will be talking about the story the entire day. This is a super exclusive Republic. But also, you know, these pictures, we will be discussing these pictures further. Now we understand that there are so many allegations which have come in. We have been speaking about this. We're talking about pump and dump bot campaigns. Maybe the followers are inorganic. Who is funding Deepke? In fact, Deepke, who was studying in the United States, has come all the way back here in India. He was studying in the US, came back here in India. There's so many questions being raised. And of course, who is meeting right now is telling a different story altogether about what exactly is going on with the Cockroach Janata Party. Abhishek.
Well, you see, Shivangi, we had two communist voices, Dinesh Varshne earlier and Saira Shah Aleem now. And both did not really deny the communist connections to the movement. They are owning it up. They are not saying it's wrong. They are, in fact, giving an ideological legitimacy, or seeking to give ideological legitimacy to the attendance of communist leaders, both at the CJP protests and the Chinese embassy event. What is important is that the picture that was sought to be projected, that this is some kind of organic Gen Z movement, that students are coming together and they are trying to corner the government on the NEET paper leak issue. While the NEET paper leak issue stands, while there was absolute lack of oversight, even maladministration, lack of systems which led to the paper leak happening from within the mechanism that was put in place by the NTA. While the government has owned up some bits of it, maybe not to the extent that it should have by way of rolling off heads, maybe it will happen later. But what is important is that the students' paper leak issue was sought to be used to create civic unrest, to create social unrest, to create discord in the society, to create anarchy, and that fizzled out. And in the backdrop of that, an attempt was made to project CJP as some kind of Gen Z movement on the lines of what happened in Nepal, what happened in Bangladesh, the likes of Manish Sisodia, even Arvind Kejriwal, Rahul Gandhi, they sought to, actually use the word Gen Z movement. When they realized that CJP on its own, even with communist student bodies support, is not, rising to the occasion, the Congress took things in its hands. They tried to do this Chhatro Ki Goonj event. Even that failed after one event in Kota. And then Rahul Gandhi went on a vacation when the Congress party is in crisis in Punjab, when the Congress party couldn't mobilize enough of student support to sustain this Chhatro Ki Goonj movement. And then obviously, question needs to be asked whether these were inorganic protests aimed at creating unrest in society ahead of the monsoon session. And then in that backdrop, this meeting comes with the Chinese embassy, and that's why we are asking this question.
Yes, in fact, that's right, Abhishek. This is a major controversy that we are tracking of how the CPI has now jumped in at CJP leader Abhijit Dipke now. And also, Abhishek, could you tell us how do you see this as a pre-planned in a way where the whole Jantar Mantar controversy where the protests erupted there in June, and now with this latest meeting that set surface, do you think that this was the plan of the CPI all along to join hands with CJP, or do you think that they just joined now as a CJP has emerged as a major face of the opposition? Would you see it that way?
Well, good question, Amrita. Remember when the communist leaders Brinda Karat and M.A. Babi visited the CJP protest site at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, and that was on June 29th, a question was asked of them whether they had come late. They said, no, we are not late. In fact, we have been with the CJP from day one, and we have been providing them ballast. The student bodies of the communist parties, SFI and ISA, they have been present there on the ground, sending in, carting in their student members from the JNU right to the Jantar Mantar. And despite that, it did not really gain any traction with the larger student community. And then you have these leaders, have this tendency or propensity to support Magsaysay award winners, like it happens in the case of Sonam Wangchuk. Now, even that fast, it's 17th or 18th day today that Sonam Wangchuk is on a fast. Nobody cares. Nobody is, except for this small ecosystem, call it Lutyens lobby. They are sort of backing him up, that too only on social media and not actually physically on the ground. Even Sonam Wangchuk would have realized that this support that he gets is more in the nature of lip service. I'm, just sort of tempted to use that Hindi phrase, which is apt for this situation, where, Charja beta suli pe bhala karenge Ram. Now for 18 or 19 days, Sonam Wangchuk is sitting on a fast, not getting any traction, not getting any attention, except for that very small microcosm and the micro community of activists from the left. These people have become directionless. Having said that, the attempt was clearly to create social unrest in the society. And obviously now it has failed. But to get in the Chinese embassy in the mix is something which needs to be, asked questions about. Raman Malik, a BJP voice, joins us, I believe, over the phone. Raman Malik, you have seen these pictures of communist leaders visiting the CJP protests and now also visiting the Chinese embassy. And this meeting comes, or the program comes ahead of a monsoon session of Parliament. Your take on that?
See, every session of the Parliament, Abhishek, there is some fiasco or the other created by external forces, whether it is through the Soros foundations, whether it is through somebody else. But the most important point here is one must look into, which is that the left, which generally was opposing Congress, and even in the elections of the Kerala Assembly, they fought against the Congress, are today widely, whenever it comes to any major issue, they support the Congress. It is the same Congress which has signed the contract with the CPC. in 2008. Now, the question which is arising here is, what is the ecosystem? And my request is, if anybody from the NIA and others are listening into this program ever, that they should look into and investigate all these connections. And the very fact that these very same people, even Sonam Wangchuk and the Congress as well as the CPI and the left parties, they always come forward to say that China is occupied. Are they trying to certify the idea of China to occupy Indian territories? The unrest in India, why is it that they are always so happy about it and they are supporting it? I have written earlier also, Abhishek, that China has a policy worldwide that they will use your fault line, the fault lines in your law, the fault lines in your constitution, the fault line in your society for their benefit. Now, the same fault lines, whether it is the availability of democracy. Why I'm saying it is a fault line? Because China does not have democracy. But these people use the democracy to work against the democracy. They use the constitution against the constitution. They use the law against the law. So these people are basically parasites on the Indian democracy and they must be looked at. Now, saying that your freedom of expression is infringed in this nation where you are allowed to even call for the assassination of the incumbent Prime Minister, there cannot be a bigger, more evident proof of democracy and freedom of expression being there. And still, these people have the audacity to work with the enemies of the state. The point is very simple, that they always take direction from people who are sitting there, are in our northeast, especially northeast, not the sister states, the Indian territory. No, the northeast of India is China, and China making sure that the mainland China plus the occupied territories which they have, they try to engulf, they try to take more territories, and these people, they have no problems with that. Now, same ways, I believe that those people should be looked into. The NIA should also ask for the Congress government from the Congress Party to make public the memorandum of understanding that they have signed with the Communist Party of China, and let the people know what they are up to. These people, Tukde gang, the people involved in the Bharat Todo Brigade or the Bharat Breaking India Brigade, they are all hands in glove. So point here is, who is funding the entire thing? You know, I've seen reports, and most of the people would have seen reports in various social media feeds also.
You're right.
Not just food, not just pizzas, not just anything. Even beer is available in this protest in the evening. How is it possible? Is this a protest or is it a party?
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Raman Malik, for joining us and for giving us all of your insights on this latest development that's coming in at the moment. CJP leaders and CPI leaders now in hands and also meeting with Chinese embassy. Just seen visiting Chinese embassy and also meeting Chinese officials on this, raising major controversy as well. And we'll be back on this story right after a very short break, as the latest that we're tracking on Republic, as there has been a China link that's been linked to the CJP, as the leaders of CPI and also CJP are seen with meeting each other and Chinese officials within days, coming up after a short break.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा सिर्फ MTH का जलजीरा जीरा सिर्फ
जीरा सिर्फ असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा सिर्फ MTH का जलजीरा जीरा सिर्फ।
जीरा सिर्फ असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
ये वही हैं, ये प्रश्न उठाने वाले लोग वही हैं जो लोग आज श्री राम जन्मभूमि में चोरी के बारे में इतना हो हल्ला कर रहे हैं। याद करना, श्री राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर के बारे में प्रश्न उठा रहे हैं। घटना जो भी घटित हुई,
Welcome back, viewers, and we move on to a major focus story. The West Asia conflict has entered another dangerous phase. The United States has launched a fresh round of strikes against Iran, saying that the attacks are aimed at degrading the Tehran's strike capabilities, even as reports emerge of fierce clashes in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iran, meanwhile, also claimed that he has struck military targets in Bahrain and Kuwait, raising fears of an even wider regional escalation. Let us take a look at this report with the latest developments in the West Asian region.
The United States has launched a fresh wave of strikes on Iranian targets, with Washington saying the attacks are intended to weaken Iran's ability to carry out further missile and drone strikes. The strikes come just ahead of an unexpected naval blockade around Iran, further raising tensions in the Gulf. Iran has responded by announcing the third phase of Operation Nasser 2. IRGC claims its drones targeted enemy warehouses at Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain and the MQ-9 drone ramp at Ali Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait. With fresh US strikes expanding Iranian retaliation and active fighting, fears of a wider regional conflict continue to grow, with global shipping routes and oil supplies now under increasing threat.
Coming up after a very short break, a day after Tamil Nadu government issues anti-bribery helpline, TVK leader caught red-handed accepting bribes. Coming up next.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया? आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Ladies and gentlemen, we suspect that Pakistan is back to its old and dirty tricks again, and we have proof which has come with us that they are planning some terrorism in response to our firm decision to keep the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Now, we've kept the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance post-Pahalgam because that is what they deserve. These are of Lashkar terrorists being trained with some hyperbolic jihadi music in the background. And they are being trained by the Lashkar-e-Toiba. This footage has come out. They are being trained by a US-designated Lashkar terrorist called Haris Dar. And these are all Lashkar terrorists. They are being trained, and they are being trained in dams, in waters of dams in Pakistan. And he is addressing these water jihad recruits in front of a water body, and he says, "Agla step hamara dam mein aata hai, Mangla Dam mein. Our issue over water is with India." And then he wants and says, something bigger is going to happen in 2026. That's the video of him on the right, where he says something big is going to happen over the water issue in 2026. Then he's parroting the line of the Pakistani government. Remember, the man on the right is not just any fanatic. He's a US designated, very well-known Lashkar-e-Toiba commander, training what is being called as a water force and preparing them to attack India from a new front. And he's saying repeatedly that 2026 something big is coming. Therefore, this is clear proof that Pakistan is intending to carry out terrorism, targeting India's water.
Viewers, major breaking news coming in at the moment from Maharashtra. This regarding Ramesh Mhatre, the Shiv Sena co-operator, who has gotten away out on bail and after assaulting 2 doctors. And here he's seeing the visuals where he was assaulting verbally and physically abusing healthcare workers. And now he's out. He's out. The question is he out on a VVIP card? And the leader who assaulted doctors, he gets bail on a 50,000 cash bond, where he gave it to go out on the grounds that he was suffering from high blood pressure. The question is, how was his blood pressure when he was, in fact, very aggressively assaulting healthcare workers during that episode? Now, I've also, Republic, in fact, spoke to the doctor who have, in fact, said that he was suffering from the high blood pressure as well. And Republic has had a conversation, exclusive conversation with the Dr. Rahul Lahekar on Ramesh Mhatre. Let's take a listen to that.
डॉक्टर, अभी रमेश मात्रे का हेल्थ कंडीशन कैसा है?
अभी भी बीपी हायर साइड में है, तो ऐसे ट्रीट कर रहे हैं अपन।
तो वो लास्ट टाइम कब एडमिट हुए थे हॉस्पिटल में?
अंडर कस्टडी है, पेशेंट अंडर कस्टडी है, तो पुलिस ही लेके आया है पेशेंट, तो परसों। हाँ,
अभी उनका क्या सिचुएशन है? मतलब सिर्फ बीपी का प्रॉब्लम है, हाई बीपी है, और क्या और कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स है उनको?
पेशेंट को बुलेट इंजरी हुआ था, उसके कारण उसका एक किडनी निकाल दिया था, तो उसके वजह से भी हाइपरटेंशन